handles or usernames have become a huge commodity online, so much so that people are being bullied, harassed, even extorted to release those handles to cyber criminals. Joining us now to discuss the issue is the founder of Reach Out Technology and cyber tech expert Rick Jordan, and Chris Ruby, the CEO of Ruby Media Group and a social media consultant. Thank you both for being with us today. Chris, I'll start with you. Cyber criminals take these handles and they sell them online for thousands of dollars. So why is this happening now?
This is happening now because these handles, specifically on Instagram, are considered a status symbol of early adopters on the platforms. So many of these handles, for example, that just have one word in the handle, go for a lot of money. We're talking $20,000, $30,000, or even $40,000 on these other marketplaces online. So it's not that it's only happening now. It has happened before, but what we're seeing is an increase of why it's happening, which is, of course, a result of the pandemic, where people are becoming more and more depressed about economic outlook. And this is one way for many teenagers in particular to make money online. But unfortunately, they're doing it in a way that can even lead to death. We saw one of these people extort someone in his 60s, and he was so afraid when the police actually showed up that he had a heart attack and died. So this is not only what should be illegal, but I mean, people are dying from this and it's criminal behavior. I think the challenge here is that our laws around technology are antiquated. They do not keep up with the changes that we're seeing in social media, in particular social audio.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and we're going to talk more about that in just a bit. But Rick, let's talk about the harassment that Chris was just also referring to. It's gotten really out of hand. Identity theft and extortion have been part of this process. So why aren't federal agencies like the FBI more involved?
You're right, Naja. The federal agencies, what I've seen typically in my industry is they don't tend to get involved, especially the FBI, when these cases have damages that are lower than $1 million. That's in the cybersecurity industry, that's in the digital media industry, that's everywhere, because there's just way too many of them. Like Chris is saying, how these are increasing now, that's very true, and the federal agencies just can't keep up. There has to be more of a broad stroke to protect the people that are being literally physically harmed, like Mike Herring of Tennessee.
Wow, $1 million, that's a really high threshold. Chris, is this another case of technology being ahead of the slow legislation process? And are there actual federal laws or even state laws to prevent this from happening?
It is a case of that. And I think the challenge here, as we've seen with particularly social audio, is that we have people now going to law enforcement saying this happened on Clubhouse or this happened on Twitter Spaces, trying to bring this to the attention of law enforcement or even the FBI, and them saying, we don't even know what you're talking about. You know, this is just bullying or harassment online, but you know, this is not going to lead to a death. But of course, as we've seen, that's completely false. The other challenge is that we have people who are now having open conversations with people who are public figures, where otherwise there were media gatekeepers that put a lid on those relationships and having access to those people. Well, now the floodgates are open with the access to those people, and unfortunately the protection is also just completely evaporated in the process. I think the other challenge that we have with social media, and where the law just certainly doesn't add up, is that when we talk about libel or defamation, there are different laws that protect regular people from those who are considered public figures. But where do we really draw the line when it comes to being a public figure? Because social media, in many regards, has made many people public figures that otherwise never would be. So what we have is a skyrocketed increase in fame on social media, and an absolute decrease in the law's ability to protect these people.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And we've seen this with the rise of the influencer. That was never even a term just a few years ago. But Rick, this question's for you. Why not just give up your username and turn over the handle to just avoid all of this, to avoid being harassed?
There's two reasons, really. One is that it's very personal. You know, for the case of Mark Herring, that's just a personal account for him. You know, it's something that he would post things he cared about, photos and all that. But then in the case of one of my friends just this weekend, whose account was hacked for a very similar thing, doesn't have a handle like @Tennessee, but she has a verified account and over 100,000 followers. You know, I look at my account that has almost 300,000 followers, and that's a really important property of mine or of my friends from over this weekend. So it's kind of for the following that's there too. It's almost like establishing a physical skyscraper in a city, and the more floors you stack on, the more that property is worth. And that's why these individuals, especially with getting into the social implications here, why these teenagers, as Chris was saying, are really diving into this now. It's because I feel that they've gone through this period in their teens to where they feel like there's an anonymity, but now they're realizing real repercussions of their actions too.
On another front, we know Instagram recently announced that it's going to be working on ways to discourage body shaming, and this has been a huge issue. It comes after researchers say that it is a toxic issue on social media, particularly for teenage girls. Is there really something that can even be done here? Chris, let's start with you.
Sure. I mean, so this isn't really a new issue, even though the report is technically new. Instagram has been having challenges with this for years. Most recently, they tried or tested out the ability for people to hide like counts on photos. But as we've seen, even that feature was very polarized. So as much as people can say that they're not happy with this stuff or that social media is leading to depression and ruining society, at the end of the day, it's the people themselves who also have to take responsibility and accountability, and not only the platform. I think that Instagram, that report is damning for Instagram for many reasons. But if Instagram makes changes and people don't actually make changes on their end, then nothing they do is going to make a difference.
And Rick, your perspective.
Yeah, this one hits home for me because I have a 14-year-old daughter, and she has a twin brother who's also 14. They got their Instagram accounts when they were 13 years old. It was almost like a 13-year birthday gift from me. And I instilled as a parent, I told them, your accounts will never be private. If you want to have this and you live in my house, your accounts will be fully public, because I need you to know the psychology of this, that no matter what you post, anybody can see. So likewise, in how I instilled those values in my kids, I think that this is one of the things to where parents have to step up and have those conversations around the dinner table about what healthy choices in life are. That way, because a lot of the Instagram issues I know with the 1 in 3 teenage girls are all about body shaming. You know, if as a parent we can teach our kids how to eat right, how to eat, how to do the exercise that they need to, how to celebrate people, even celebrities like Adele, who dropped weight and are posting photos of themselves in pride because they worked hard at dropping weight and getting healthy. And that's okay. That our kids don't need to be body shamed or feel body shamed either, because they're putting in those healthy choices themselves that were instilled by their parents.
Certainly a sign of the times. Such an interesting and important conversation. Founder of Reach Out Technology and cyber tech expert Rick Jordan, and Chris Ruby, the CEO of Ruby Media Group and a social media consultant. Thank you both for your insight this afternoon.